How are you today?
Yeah, I'm okay. The last couple of days now, I've had really bad days, and didn't want to get up out of bed. And some days are okay, and other days are just horrendous. I don't have good days.
Yeah. And tell me this: what brought you here today?
Here to talk about my daughter who took her own life on the 20th of January 2018 due to physical and mental abuse online.
Yeah. And your daughter's name is?
Nicole.
Can you describe Nicole for us?
Nicole was always, she was such a, when she was younger, she was such a happy child. She was funny, she was caring. We have a mobile down in Wexford, and we spent most of our time down there, with summer, bank holidays, midterms. She'd a lot of good friends down there. She loved to laugh. Spent a lot of time at the beach and jumping off the piers, and we'd go crab fishing, and we'd always spend, like, we'd always be with each other, and there'd be a big group of us down there. But she was don't get me wrong, she was a typical child. She could be cheeky and she'd have her smart answers, but Nicole's problem, I'm going to say, is she was very trusting with people. But she was very caring. She could be shy, but she was outgoing at the same time. She just always loved to have fun and laugh.
Yeah. And what kind of things was she into, like her interest in?
She used to do karate. She was a brown belt. Her next stage was a black belt in karate. She was the England champion. She was the champion all over Ireland, all the different, in every county. She was great at it, but Nicole had a thing called a hypermobility syndrome. And that's where we could build muscle and tendons, to hold your bones in, but hers were very weak. So her bones used to slip out easy on her shoulders or her hips, but she could put them back in just as easy. Yeah. So she had to, that was getting worse, so she had to give up the karate, because every time she got a kick, like, her shoulder would dislocate or whatever, but she loved the karate. Yeah.
And what age? How old was Nicole?
When she passed away, she was 21. Yeah.
And did you have any idea that she was down, depressed or anything?
Yeah, she used to tell me everything. I knew everything what was going on, and the people that tormented her. She was first, it was physically. They would put cigarette butts out on her feet, on her legs. They burned her. She had about a 6-inch scar where they burned her. She got dragged down the stairs in the nightclub by the hair, and she just got picked on due to, it started off with 2 girls in particular, and one of these girls actually admitted that the reason why they picked on her at the start was through jealousy. Nicole, I know I'm going to say this because she's my daughter, but she was beautiful, and when she'd go out, she'd be stunning going out, and she would get attention from boys, but all Nicole wanted to do was dance. She just wanted to go out and have fun and be normal, but the 2 girls that started this abuse were very jealous of that, and they used to spread rumours about her then and stay away from Nicole, and they knew she had the hypermobility syndrome, so they'd give her an elbow in the face or push her, and she'd hit against the table and she'd dislocate her hips, and they knew when they do that they'd be hurting her. But the abuse went on for ages. In May 2015, Nicole took an overdose, and she was in hospital for 4 nights. When she came out of hospital, she was referred to CAMHS, and she cried in CAMHS and said that she can't take it anymore. She couldn't take the physical abuse, and the verbal abuse and the rumours that were made up about her, and she was crying in there, and he said that it was just a phase you were going through, that, you know, people go through this, you'll get over it, and you haven't got mental health issues and you don't need medication, and, you know, so that there was no follow-up. And so as the time went on, the abuse started going online, where they would they'd start up a group, say in WhatsApp, and you know, everyone would start joining in, but Nicole wasn't involved in this. She wasn't added into the group, so she didn't know they were saying this, except there was one girl that she had as a friend told her what was going on. But they'd say to her on a daily basis, go die, hang yourself, drink bleach, slit your wrist, everyone hates you, nobody wants you here. They'd send her photographs of a noose on how to hang yourself. So it was not only physically, it was online. She got torn apart. They used to put up videos, blurred pictures of videos of supposedly Nicole with other men, but you couldn't see the person in the video. So and they'd say that was Nicole, you know, and they just constantly every day. She couldn't walk down to the shop in case she's seen them. She only went out once a week, and I used to beg her not to go out. But she goes, "Ma'am, you know, I'm, you know, I want to go out," and all she wanted to do was dance and have fun. She never got drunk because she always had to be aware of what was going on. I never went to bed when she went out because she could ring me at 1 o'clock in the morning, "Ma'am, quick, come and get me," or 2 o'clock, "Come and get me," and I'd just have to jump straight in the car and go down and get her. But what people didn't see with Nicole was, before she went out, she used to be thrown up in the bathroom with nerves and anxiety, because she knew what was ahead of her. You know, she didn't know who was going to be down there, what's going to happen, and she used to throw up, and she'd have cramps in her stomach, and she'd be getting ready, and I'd be still saying to her, you know, just stay in, like, and well, she'd get ready and she'd be waiting for her friend to come up, and when the two of them get ready, then she'd stand at the sitting room door and she'd go, "Right, ma'am, take a picture," and she'd have this big smile on her face as if, you know, everything is great, and, you know, it was like a mask that she put up. And then she'd go out, and as I said, it could only last an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, before I'd have to go down and get her. And even if she didn't go to this nightclub, you know, with Facebook, they'd know where you are, so they'd follow her down to a different nightclub, so she could never get away from them. But it was the online abuse that. And when she took the overdose in 2015, and they heard about it, they start spreading it around the nightclub, and they said, "Nicole took an overdose because of me." And then the other girl go, "No, it was because of me." And the other one go, "No, because I said this." And it was like they were claiming a trophy, do you know what I mean? That, you know, who actually made her. And I thought her taking the overdose was my worst nightmare, but it was only the start of it.
Yeah. Do you think, do you know if she went to get help outside of family? In school, or?
No, she had left school at this stage. When this started happening, then she was 17. The only help, as I said, was when she went to CAMS, and they just dismissed it, no follow-up at all. There was a fake page made on Facebook called Saoirse, and this fake person said that they were going to beat Nicole up so bad that they were going to put her on life support machine. So we went down to the guards, and Nicole had just turned 18, and because she was 18, I couldn't make the complaint, she had to. But she said she couldn't make the complaint because they would have annihilated her even more than what they were doing. Then she would have been a rat then, do you know what I mean? And, you know, bringing the police to their door. But I'm glad she didn't make the complaint, because
probably would have got worse.
Well, not only that, after Nicole did take her own life, the police came back, and that's when we learned that the police could do nothing about it, that there was no, like, online bullying is not an offence. You could say anything you want to anyone online and it's not an offence until we start, I start going to the doll and bringing in Coco's law. But if she had went to the guards that night, there was nothing, not a thing they could do about it, because it's not an offence to
say what you want.
To say what you want, die, kill yourself, all stuff like that, and make people feel as low as they made her then.
And can you just take us back to the day Nicole died?
Just before she died, she started going into herself an awful lot, and she spent a lot of time in her bedroom. She would cry going to sleep. She was so unhappy. She started self-harming herself, now not with a knife or anything. She was using her nails, and she would dig and dig into her skin. She was just so unhappy, and she said to me, I knew this was going to happen. I didn't know when or how, but she said to me that she didn't want to be here anymore, that she hated the abuse, she hated what the people were doing to her. She said that she did want to die, and the only reason why she couldn't do it was because she didn't want to leave me heartbroken, because myself and Nicole were so close, and I felt so powerless, because there was nothing else, there was nothing that I could do to help her, and I tried to build her up. But a couple of weeks before she took her life, she was more bubblier, and she started going out with my niece to another nightclub, and she came out of the nightclub and she was laughing and she was so happy, and I was so happy then. I thought maybe, this is the start of it. She's starting to come out. So on the Wednesday, myself and Nicole went to Liffey Valley, and she bought a dress to go out on the Saturday. She bought a dress and a top, and she had her eyebrows booked and all, and I was so happy for her, and thinking, well, maybe this is the turnaround that she needed. And so that was the Wednesday, and then the day then on the 18th of January, on the 18th of January, I left the house at 3:20 to bring my son to work, and then went on ahead up to collect my other son from school. So between 3:20 and by the time I got home at 4:30, myself and my 14-year-old son walked into the house together, at the same time, and we walked into the hall, and the first thing I seen was a stepladder, and I thought, what's the stepladder doing there? Just for that second. But behind the stepladder, Nicole was hanging from the banisters with the dog lead. I screamed, and I screamed at Lee, take her down. I ran over to her, and I tried to lift her up to get the weight off her neck, and I screamed to Lee, take her down. So as I was lifting her up, Lee unhooked the lead, and I screamed at Lee to go and get help, go and get someone. So while she came into my arms, I put her on the ground, and I dialed the ambulance and put it on speaker, and they were telling me to do CPR, and I was telling her to hold on, and she was still warm, and just, and I was rubbing her face and and just begging her to hold on, just hold on. So she got to the hospital, and she was on life support machine. They got their wish, they wanted her on life support machine. So this was on the 18th, she was on life support machine, and this is going to sound crazy, but I was so lucky to have her for the 2 days. We had her for 2 days where we could hold her, and the family could come in, and the doctor called us in, and he told us she's not coming home, that she is going to die. And to hear those words, like, it still wasn't real. It was still like it was someone else. Do you know what I mean? That it wasn't. We still having that little hope. But Nicole did say about she said, "Ma'am, I'd hang myself only for I'm afraid I wouldn't do it right. That I'd be left with brain damage." So when the doctor said she was still breathing when we got her to the hospital, even though she was on the life support machine, her heart was still going, but he said that she had extensive brain damage. He said there was a little tiny bit in there, but he said, and all I could think was that this isn't the way she wanted to be. That if she came home with brain, that all she wanted, she would have hated that to have brain damage. That would have been like even worse than what she was going through. But the doctor said that that her organs were going to start shutting down, that we only had, this was our time to say goodbye. And Nicole was loved by our family. You know, we have such a close family, and our best time of the year was Christmas, and you know, and all the family came in and we were saying goodbye, and myself and my friend, we stayed there the night with her, the 2 nights with her. We didn't sleep at all because we just wanted to spend every second we're just holding her hand and expecting her to open her eyes, like, and she always says to me, she always called me Jackers, and she loved McDonald's, and I used to be always giving out to her about eating McDonald's. Don't keep eating that rubbish, but she'd always send me a text and say, "Yup, Jackers, are we going to Macca's?" You know, and I just say, oh, I'd love her just to open her eyes and say, "Yup, Jackers," you know. But yeah, the last minute or two that we had with her, then our heart was all erratic and our blood pressure went up, and I knew I only had minutes with her, and the last words I said to her, I just kissed her and I rubbed her face, and I just said, "Let go, Cole." I said, that it just let go, and I said, "Nobody can hurt you anymore, they can't touch you." And I gave her a kiss, and she said, "Just let go," and then she did.
And what effect has this had on the family?
Oh,
on your family from?
There are no words even for that. Like, we're just all devastated. For her brother to walk in as well, to see that he's getting a lot of help. His school is brilliant. He's going to psychiatrists. He is talking about it.
He's obviously playing in his mind.
I've often find him lying in Nicole's room, just crying, and he'd be holding her picture, or the house coat that Nicole did it in. I have that on the bed, and I sleep with that, and just smell her house coat. Just, you know, it's a bit of comfort to because it was the last thing she wore. But I've often found Lee in there holding it as well and crying. Terrible effect on him. And then my other son, he's so quiet. He was always so really quiet, and it took him months to even talk about her. So now he's starting to talk about her, but he wouldn't go and get help or anything. He was just
kept himself.
Yeah, and the rest of the family is our nanny, our granddad. She idolised her granddad, and then all her uncles and cousins and all. Like, she was so loved. It was just the other side of it, that they just tore her down and just tore her apart. Like, she just couldn't. She didn't want to die. She just didn't want to be that unhappy, you know.
And if you don't mind, can you just share the last conversation you had with Nicole?
That would have been the day before, when we went to Liffey Valley, and that night, now every single night, Nicole would come and sit on my bed every night for forever. She did that, and we'd be talking, and but the last thing every single night was, "Night, ma'am, love you," and I go, "Night, Coco." Coco, we called her. That was our pet name. Everyone knew her as Coco, and I'd say, "Night, Coco, I love you. I'll see you in the morning." But on a Thursday morning, I always have to leave the house early and go down and look after my dad, because my dad has Alzheimer's and my mum goes out and does her shopping. So it was just like an ordinary, at this stage everything was going good, and she was happier in herself, as I thought. So I went down to my dad, and she sent me a text the night before she died, actually, and she says, I can't remember the exact words now, but it was like, do you ever feel so scared? I've the best mum that I don't even have to ask her to do anything for me. She just does it. And she said, you ever feel so scared that you lose your mum, and that you always just want to hold her forever? And that was, I only got that when it was too late as well, you know. And she was always scared that something had happened to me. See, we were very close, you know, and she did say to me before, like, if anything ever happened to you, that's it, I'm gone with you. Like, she was like me shadow. Like, she always like.
And do you ever feel any anger, like, towards what happened? I'm sure you do.
I hate them. I hate the people that did it. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, oh, there is now at the moment with the law that I'm doing, but the way it is at the moment where I live, they live around. Yeah, so I don't go out. I stay in all the time. If I'm going out, I just go from the hall door to the car, and I don't go to the local shops. If I want stuff like bread or milk, I go to Tella. I won't go anywhere in Clondalkin. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see their family. I don't want to see any of them.
Is that way you're dealing with, how you're dealing with anger?
No.
It's kind of keeping yourself to yourself, if you like.
No, I don't. I don't know what way. I changed the anger into fighting for Nicole's law. All right, that's. I don't build up the anger. If I don't want to see them, I don't want to see their faces, but I don't go every day with anger, because I'm so focused on bringing in Coco's law, and I've been so busy with that in the doll and the TDs, and it's very close now. It's getting close. So all of the year was grieving for Nicole and missing her, and trying to fight, so this doesn't happen to someone else. Yeah.
And what would you give, like, advice to any family that's grieving through something like this?
Oh, just hold. It's hard to give advice, because some days I don't want to be here. You know, if I hadn't got the boys and my family, I'd be gone straight away. The only reason why I can't go is because I can't do. I can't do the same thing and let my family go through what they're going through right now. I can't do it on the boys either, but I go to bed early at night to get rid of just the end of the day. And then I wake up every morning to another horrible day. So it's hard to give someone advice on the way I'm feeling, do you know what I mean, when I don't want to be here, you know. So yeah, it's just something that you have to go through. And
yeah. And if you could speak to Nicole now, what would you say to her?
Someone said that to me, actually. If you had one day with her, what would you do? Well, first of all, I wouldn't let her out of my sight. You know, I told her I loved her every day while she was here, so I would just hug her and hold her and tell her again how much I'd love her. But then I did say at the end of the day, when it was time to go back, I'd sit on her and make sure she wasn't be going back anywhere. Yeah. I would do anything just to see her smile. She had this beautiful smile, and just perfect smile, and when she used to smile, her nose would crunch up, and she had a real infectious laugh. I'd love to hear her laugh again. I'd love to just see her face again and just hold her. But a day wouldn't be enough, because I wouldn't want to let her go again, you know. But the way it is now with me, I'm just counting down the days until I do see her again. I can't wait to see her again. You know, I do try and hold on. I had a couple of moments myself where I was going to, and then obviously I had to think of the boys and my family. But every day is just, it's horrible, you know. And at the start, like, you're in shock, but now the shock is worn off. Where now it's the missing her, it's the missing of seeing her and hearing her voice is the hardest thing, you know. Sorry.
And if you don't mind, tell us more about the law you're working on, Coco's Law.
Yeah, when I found out that it wasn't an offence to say what you want to anybody online, I just couldn't believe you could say anything you want, and you couldn't be charged because there was no law there. So in February, myself and my friend, we got an appointment to go into the Dáil. There was two TDs there, and they were saying, like, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to make sure this, you know, doesn't happen. So we started off with that meeting, and then the next time we did a protest outside the Dáil. You had the banners and everything, and there was a good few hundred there, which was great, but they still weren't listening. The government, still didn't know who we were, so we had to highlight on who Coco was and what we wanted to do. And then in May, on the 22nd of May, I had a meeting in the AV room in the Dáil, and I was surprised. There was about 12 TDs there from each different party, so I was catching all of them. But I did, I played a video in the background and spoke, but I don't know what happened to me that day. I just spoke. I grabbed their attention. I caught their attention that day, and from then they started to listen. I had so many meetings then, in and out the Dáil. It was very slow process, as I thought, but it's actually coming in this year. So it's only it'll be a year and a half, say, which was great progress to get a law in. But Brendan Howland, he was brilliant, and obviously when I started off, well, obviously I want this law in, but when I started off, we started a campaign as Coco's Law, because I wanted her name to you know, for people to know who she was. So when I went into the meeting with Brendan Howland, I told him about Coco's Law, and he just turned around and says, well, obviously you're going to want Coco's Law in the main heading on the bill. And I went, well, yeah, of course, but I wasn't expecting him to say that, you know what I mean? So I said, yeah. So they said in Ireland there's no law named after someone, but they said they'll look into it. So I got an email back from the Parliament legal advisors, and they said there is no problem whatsoever in. So the law is going to be Coco's Law.
It's one way of keeping her.
Yeah, just keeping her
name up.
Yeah, and then at the moment it's past its second stage now, and so it has to go to the Garda Commissioner and the Chief Superintendent in Harcourt Street, and they're going to, as the detective Chief Superintendent, he said he wants to get the law and rip it up and kick it around until there's no loopholes in it, until it's watertight, you know. So that'll be on the way to them soon, and once that's done, then the government have agreed to fund it. They're all supporting it now. Every one of them they're not opposing to it. So it's just fixing it up, and then it will be.
That would be amazing. Yeah,
it'll be a criminal offence where, like, these people have to be made and accountable for. As I was saying, James, like, they have statistics for suicide. Nicole is now a statistic, you know, for suicide, for cyberbullying and suicide, but they haven't got statistics for the kids that are getting, say, picked on in school and bullied and going home and self-harming themselves in their room, and you know, there's no statistics for them, and that's what's happening a lot with a lot of people. They're getting depressed, they're going down, they don't want to be here, they hate the pain, they're hurting themselves in their room, but there's no statistics for that, you know, but this is going on all the time.
Not enough being done.
Yeah, and at the moment, Air, the phone company Air, they, I had a couple of meetings with them. I was in the Dáil actually the other day with them as well. I had a couple of meetings, and we made up a leaflet. Now it's not going out until Tuesday because that's Internet Safety Day is next Tuesday. So, but they did up a great leaflet, and there's a big stamp out cyberbullying, and they have Coco's name in the leaflet, but they're putting the leaflet in every single phone box that they sell. Every phone that they sell, it's going to be in the box. So not only is she on a law, she's going to go out in her name's going to go out in every phone. But the leaflet is brilliant because on one side it's telling the kids what to look out for, and on the other page it's telling the parents what they can be doing. Do you know what I mean? So it's a great idea, you know, just to get it out there, and like Facebook and all, you know, there is good sides of it, don't get me wrong, but there's dark sides as well.
You have a page for Coco's Law, do you, on Facebook?
I have a page, Let's Bring in Coco's Law, that we started at the very start. You can just look up that on Facebook, and that's every stage that we've went through, you know, from every interview, everything that we've done. So that's kind of just to keep people updated on what's going on. But the response in that, with not only the Irish people, the messages I get is unreal. Like everyone wants this in, but it's also God, I've got messages and support from, would you believe, Australia, Germany, Switzerland, America. There's two top American cyberbullying pages, and they're in touch with me as well. And like it's the Let's Bring in Coco's Law page is that helped to spread it out even better. But yeah, so
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for
this.
No, thank you for highlighting it. Every bit helps, you know, to highlight it. So
hopefully, I'm sure things will go to plan.
Well, it's
been a long road.
Oh, it's been, you know, I can't. It's funny. I'm doing all this, but I forget a lot of things, and even now, like, I went to the doctor and I just said, like, I can't take in anything, and he's saying, like, it's your brain is being protected on one side, and the other side of your brain is things aren't irrelevant, but they are, because I can't text anymore. It takes me like ages to text. I can't spell anymore because everything is like I've nothing in my head anymore that I can, you know, I do the most stupid things every day. You know, it affects you. It's just, your life is on a different level now. You know, our lives will never be the way they were, or you know,
making steps forward.
Yeah, that's all I can do. I won't bring her back, but you know, if it helps.
Preventing it.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
So